Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Pushing Buttons podcast with Marks and Anniepoo. My name is Marks, and I'm a little bean with the face sideways. I don't know how to say that. And
Colon 3.
Colon 3. There we go.
It's like a little cat face.
Yeah, is that? Is it always supposed to be a cat face? I'm not too sure about that.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of like a cat face. But anyways, my name is Annie, and I am the owner of Everything Tato. I own a few things that are like potato themed. So I have a moo tato. It's a bag that's like a potato inside of cow costume. I don't know how to describe this, but I'll post a photo on Twitter maybe.
You know, I was just like, so when we start off the podcast, we give each other different titles. I wanted to do the Everything Tato because I wanted you to have to explain the Moo Tato as well as the Space Tato.
Okay, well, the Space
what
Tato.
That is like.
Yeah, the Space Tato is these are the names of the products. I did not name them, by the way. This is on the marketplace, and I'm not going to say what merchant because we're not, what is it called when people give you money for sponsoring?
I don't.
Sponsoring.
Anyways.
Sponsoring. We're not sponsored by this vendor, but it's a potato inside a little spacesuit. It's really cute. It's like a little Buzz Lightyear spacesuit. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about pushing buttons.
Woohoo! So if you're new to the Pushing Buttons podcast, basically we just kind of, me and Anniepoo, we sit down and we talk about what's been happening in our lives, all esports stuff and esports adjacent type things, and then kind of look forward into what to expect. So to start things off, taking some notes from what we ended off last week's episode on, I actually sat down and I finished my reel. I'm very proud of myself.
Oh.
I put so many wonderful clips together, but I have a little bit of a bone to pick with professional organizations. And actually, I say that I have a bone to pick, but at the same time, it's mostly my fault. So I've got nobody to blame except the man in the mirror. And that is, oh my God, it is so hard to look for clips.
Yeah.
So when I am casting, right, like I have a notebook beside me to like take notes, what's going on in the game, but also too, I like to take timestamps of, if I felt like I casted something really well, I take the timestamp of it and the event's all written down. So then later I can go back into the VOD and then be like, okay, yes, let me see. That's good. Let me download it. I'm going to use it for a reel later on. So since the whole Nerd Street thing kind of wrapped up, I was like, okay, now would be probably a good time to do a reel now that I've got a couple of clips of me like casting live. And so I was like, all right, let's dig in through my notebook with all of these timestamps, only to find that, who would have guessed, but all of the casts that I had dated all the way back from May and June were erased from the internet. So that's kind of what I mean. It was a little bit of my bad. I probably should have let it. Look at the clips.
I've had that happen to me too. So I have a bunch of sticky notes that I keep on my PC that has the names of rounds and maps that I want to clip for my observer reel. And I know what events that these are from. I don't label them really well because I just remember. But they're useless now. I'm going to just toss those away because
RIP.
Those VODs are gone. I can't access them. So observer reel for me, that's be delayed. But you still had enough clips to push something out, right? So tell me about it, editing it. Yeah. How do you feel now that you have a reel out?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. It actually felt really nice to go and revisit back, but it was a really big pain trying to put things together because, as speaking from the caster's perspective, and also too, you come from more of an observing background, but it's like I want to get good clips of me doing play-by-play stuff, except since my last reel, I've been hired on for a lot of like color casting stuff, and so naturally my inclination was let's just jamble them all together, and then that way I can really broadcast all of the different stuff that I can do, including like interviews, all of that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of became just like an amalgamated mess, for lack of better terms. But okay. I thought when you're also like working on something too, it's like when you're writing an essay. You write it the first time, you're like, I've nailed it in one. I don't need to review this at all. Then you like step away for like 2 days, and then you come back and you're like, I must have been on some sort of substance when I wrote this because this doesn't make any sense. That's kind of how I felt with my reel, because
creating the first draft, the reel or the content of the reel itself, like the clips you were reviewing.
I thought I did a really good job of selecting clips, and I thought I pulled really good, powerful clips together. And then I made the reel, but then it was definitely one of those things where I was like, oh, look at me, I have another reel, and it is great. And I sent it out to a couple of people to review, including yourself, and you gave me very helpful feedback.
I wrote you a short essay.
Yeah, you did write me a short essay, and you didn't have to revisit it in a couple of days. I understood it perfectly. But, it took a little bit, but I'm glad that I could kind of come back and revisit it with that lens. Because one thing, especially for reels, that I don't think everybody realizes at first when you're kind of getting out there. Okay, come on. But something people don't realize their first time they make a reel is, at its core, it's almost more of an entertainment thing than it is necessarily to display your skill set. Because if your reel goes in front of somebody who's like looking to hire, they're going to be first watching the reel, and then if they're actually interested in who you are based off of this reel, then they might go and explore some VODs or reach out to you to talk to you, and that's when they get an actual deep understanding of how you do, whether or not that's casting or whether or not that's observing. And so big shout out to you, because you really helped me kind of pull it together to be a much more concise and entertaining reel, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that first draft of your reel was, I don't want to say horrendous, but it was, if you had put that out, I would have been mad at you for your own sake. It was not the best reflection of your work. Yeah, I don't know what else I have to say about it other than, like, I really like what you ended up doing with it. You added some more clips from that weren't there in the first version, swapped out some clips that were not too great in the first version too. Came out very polished and clean. Very proud of you.
Thank you. I can just soak up all these compliments all day. Actually, fun editing tip, especially too if you're coming from a caster perspective. Hey, you only need to clip like one sentence. If you're a color, clip one sentence of you sounding smart, and that is enough for like the real clip, because otherwise you go for a long-winded explanation and it doesn't feel as concise or powerful. That's one thing I noticed when I was revisiting it the second time.
Ooh.
You look like you had something to say, but I don't know whether or not it was just to make that noise.
I have no thoughts.
Okay,
I am
fair enough.
Currently LFT, looking for thoughts.
Annie, we haven't even gotten to the end of the episode. You can't drop that already. That's your sign off, not the midway through.
Yeah, but I haven't really developed that as a sign off quite yet. In the first iteration of pushing buttons, I used it all the time, but no one is ever going to hear those recordings. So I'm just slow rolling it now. I'm conditioning people to think I am Anniepoo. I'm LFT, looking for thoughts.
The general umbrella of Anniepoo, just looking for thoughts.
Yes.
That's what I imagine is going on in your head. A bit of an echo. Okay, anyway.
Because there's nothing in there?
Yeah, pretty much. You said head empty. I'm just following your lead.
Yes,
Don't turn this around on me. Okay. But actually, something else very exciting happened this last weekend of recording, since we're recording this on a Monday. But I got to go see the Overwatch League's Summer Showdown, which is one of the biggest tournaments that has ever been hosted in Toronto. For those of you who don't know how I got started in this whole esports biz, because as you said, those episodes are lost forever. Basically, it was through Overwatch. I got into the Overwatch League because my friend Spooky pulled me into it. And that's more or less how I started in actually getting to understand what esports even was as a piece of media. And so it was kind of crazy, starting there and then moving forwards to, the, what things were going on and actually being able to attend a live event, upon which, first of all, I was very surprised because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to attend this Overwatch event. I just bought tickets for myself because I didn't really know anybody else in the city now that I've mostly moved into the Valorant scene who would lives around here and is a fan of Overwatch League. So I was very much going in there just expecting, hang out in the crowd, get those like giant air sticks and like hit them together a bunch and cheer on the Toronto
Did you get the
Defiant.
giant air sticks?
I did. I got so many air sticks. It was great. But like in attending this event, I actually ran into quite a few people who like I've worked with in the Valorant scene. And you know what? It was kind of cool because you don't realize that Overwatch League is just kind of like that. It's like the kid in the corner of the classroom who doesn't really talk too much, but everyone kind of knows they're there, but no one really like wants to be a part of that corner. That's all I thought Overwatch League was like, but that might just be because I hang out with a bunch of Valorant people now. But there were a lot of people there that I just like walking by was like, oh, hey, how's it going? And honestly, I'm very happy that I did get that experience. Like I said, I was expecting there to just kind of sit by myself and like, you know, be part of the crowd, be like, woo, Overwatch, yeah. But then I was like suddenly watching it with friends. You know, they knew other people as well. I got to meet a bunch of other people. Stuck into an after party, which I probably not supposed to go to. But
are you allowed to talk about that?
I mean, it was fine because I was.
It?
Yeah, it's okay. That was also kind of like a fun experience, but it's just like I was hanging out with people who maybe didn't necessarily know Overwatch per se. But it was kind of cool just to be able to watch it with some friends. And then even then meeting some new friends who were really into Overwatch. And so I got to like nerd out about strategy to people who like, you know, wasn't expecting that experience because everyone I talked to was just like, what do you mean when you move there's no aim movement error or anything like that? It's like, oh, okay, cool. This is where we're at right now. And so honestly, it was the biggest esports event that I've ever attended. And I had a really good time. It was 4 days long. I was expecting to be really tired by the end of it, but instead it was just like, oh, this is kind of like, it's bittersweet because so many people came in for this event that I wasn't expecting. And then they were like, okay, we're going now. Bye-bye. And I'm like, oh man, this is kind of sad.
Goodbye, friends. See you never.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, come on. You don't have to take it that direction.
Sorry, but also, I'm projecting.
That's okay. There is a little bit of that in it. And, you know, just to be connected to people through something like this, to me, where I feel like this Overwatch specifically is a game that I don't really connect to other people with. It's always Valorant. It was a very heartwarming experience, if I had to sum it up. So I had a great time over the weekend, although it kind of pushed me back on a lot of other deadlines. But it's fine. I enjoyed it, and that's what's important.
Yeah. It's good to take that time and do something that you enjoy. I admire how you went by yourself because I probably would not have gone to an event by myself. I would have brought somebody who's not interested at all, which I've done before to like anime conventions back in high school and stuff. And yeah, but if I had brought somebody along like that, it's hard to go out and do your own thing and kind of nerd around. So
yep.
Good on you for going solo and then meeting a lot of different people while you were there, right? Yeah, you saw.
Yep.
Who did you see?
So many
Give me some names.
Oh man, am I gonna drop some? Okay, first of all, if you know my casting career, you know that I've casted with Ravishing Ravish, the most ravishing man on the internet, and I kid you not.
If I was 1% as ravishing as the most ravishing man on the internet, I would be the second most ravishing man on the internet. Sorry, going long.
Thank you for finishing that copy pasta, but I kid you not, like, I didn't know he was gonna go there, and as soon, like, literally on, because I went on the first day after work, and I just caught the end of, like, the first game, so I just sat by myself, and I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, I have to work tomorrow anyway, so I'll just go home. Second day, I'm like, oh shit, I can get out of work a little early, okay, take the subway immediately, and then just head right over to the stadium. Walking through the exact same door, I literally opened it up and he's standing right there. And I'm like, what the heck? And then, so that was like surreal. Yeah, clearly. But then like, so saw Ravish. I got to hang out with the Toronto Serenity people. So like Erica, Xander, Cece, Mary, who were also just kind of attending as well. And then I got to also meet a bunch of Overwatch people who like, I've known of, and some of them kind of know who I am, but not really. Specifically, like Kenobi, LaFawn, and also too. Get this, I met they're casters for like Contenders, which is tier 2. They brought one of their friends along who works at a place called Rally Cry.
Must be nice having friends.
Okay, come on. So I'm talking to him, and I'm like, his name is Martin. I'm like 99% sure I was his camp counselor when I was in high school, because I saw him and I'm like, I know you. And
did you?
We were talking, and he like grew up in the same neighborhood as me and stuff like that. And like he told me his age, and I'm like, yeah, you definitely would have been in like the same thing. And so I mentioned a couple of summer camps that I used to work for, and he's like, oh yeah, no, I definitely attended those. And I'm like, it probably is. So that was kind of a surreal connection.
That's so cute.
You never know. Small world.
Look at that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like it's still kind of crazy just being able to see them. And I got a little bit starstruck, I'm not going to lie, to like the actual casters because, like I said, when I started casting, it was because of the Overwatch League, right? So I watched all these Overwatch casters, even the tier 2 scene, and like me and Spooky, we were studying their styles to be able to like replicate it ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so like, you know, Ravish just walks up to me like, hey man, how's it going? And I'm like, you are the reason I exist. So I'm not gonna lie, I think I got a little bit too anxious, so I met like a couple of them, but I was too scared to like actually say hi to the others. I feel like I need to like build myself a bit more of a reputation before I can stand on equal ground, even though I know that's just like a mental block for myself because they're humans too. But still, it's intimidating, you know.
Do you think other people find you intimidating at all? Like somebody sees, well, I know the answer to that. You probably think no. No,
actually, no, I disagree with that. I think that some people do think I'm intimidating because
you're
I'm a
so
little
intimidating.
Bit more... Oh yeah, you know me, most intimidating man on the internet. Watch out, Ravish. I've got the. If
I was 1% as intimidating as the most intimidating man on the internet.
Yeah, malicious marks. Watch out. Oh god. But no, because like when I'm in person, we've hung out in person. I'm a little bit more quiet. Like, you know, I'm just there to like hang out.
Yeah, like, I like you more in person.
Be a part of what's going on. Yeah, I know you've told me this multiple times. And so I think some people find that a little bit intimidating because I'm not like going out of my way to like talk all the time or like, you know, I'm just like existing.
Yeah.
And that silence can be uncomfortable for some people. So I get the vibe sometimes that people find that intimidating.
I don't know that it's intimidating. It might just be like uncomfortable. It's the word you're looking for. It's just like there are a lot of people who always have to have a conversation, right? And they enjoy being with people in that way, getting to know somebody and constantly having something to talk about, and not having something to talk about is really awkward. And it's like, do they like me? Do I get along with them? Oh my God, here's my social anxiety popping up. Let's move on to something else.
Okay, well, that's pretty much all of the esports adjacent stuff that I've been doing. But, you know, how have the last 2 weeks been for you? Because last we heard, you were kind of taking a step back, right?
Yeah, taking a step back, just going on a little bit of a freelancing vacation. I focused on my day job, didn't really do too many. I didn't do any, actually, freelancing gigs. We are in the off season for Valorant right now and a lot of esports things while VCT Champions is going on. But yeah, it's been nice. I just do my day job and then I'm going to be honest, I'm still kind of working. I spend my evenings with unpaid work, basically, you know, connecting with other producers, and building up my VMix knowledge and also sharing my VMix knowledge with some mentees and other people I've not connected with before, working on upcoming broadcasts on broadcast engineering and show designing for Game Changers Academy. So that is coming up. I've been putting more work into it so I can get everything finished and settled before I leave for an upcoming trip. And when I'm not doing that, I've been doing a lot of self-care. I am in the middle of trying out a new skincare routine. I went to a dermatologist to get a professional opinion. It's been really nice. I haven't done that before. What?
Okay, the reason why I'm laughing right now is because when you went to the dermatologist, you sent me a photo of you at the dermatologist. I was like, okay, true.
I sent you a photo of myself at the dermatologist.
Yeah.
Because when we were in our first month of being friends, I had asked you. You liked something on Twitter. It was the middle of the workday, and there have been multiple times where you would be on Twitter during the workday. So I messaged you and asked, so do you actually work, or are you just on Twitter all day? And you responded, oh, I'm at the dentist, and sent me a photo of you getting your mouth x-rayed at the dentist. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do with this, but I guess we're friends now, so this is okay.
And this is great because also too, the last time I went to the dentist, I also took another photo. I because I got my X-rays and it wasn't due to get an X-rayed again. But your response to the photo actually really cracked me up because you were like, "Damn, it's been a while since you've been to the dentist. Weren't you overdue?" I'm like, "Yeah."
It was more than 6 months. I had to say something, you know. Concerned about
dental hygiene is important. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's fair.
I haven't been to the dentist in maybe a year, though, so who am I to talk? That will be my next act of self-care. Perhaps when we record, I'll call the dentist tomorrow. How about that? And we'll see if by the next time we record, I can say my act of self-care during these past 2 weeks was taking myself to the dentist.
Can you book a dentist in 2 weeks?
Well, I mean, yes.
I have to book mine in, like, months in advance.
Well, I can book it months in advance, but my dentist will occasionally have random openings, and I'll just pop in. Yeah.
Pop in.
They're also 5 minutes away from my house, so.
That makes it very easy.
Yeah.
Okay, but quickly, we did skip over something that you mentioned that I kind of want to pick back up on, and that's you kind of like mentoring people in like vMix and all that type of stuff. And I guess my biggest question is how'd you find these people? Like, and started building that kind of relationship?
Yeah, it's mostly female and non-binary producers. That is my main, I guess, target demographic for the kinds of people that I want to work with in terms of mentorship and connecting, I guess, and like encouraging connection and networking amongst each other is between marginalized gender individuals in production. And so one of the people that I got is from a Twitter post, actually. Just one day, I went on Twitter. I know why you're laughing, but we're going to talk about this first from my side.
Okay. Yep.
I posted on Twitter one day that I am free. I have a few free hours in my week, and I would love to take on some production mentees. I had been doing esports production, remote esports productions, to be specific, for about 8 months at the time, and I wanted to share my knowledge with other female or non-binary producers because I think we need more of them in the space. So I was planning on starting them out on OBS and then encouraging them to move on to vMix, teaching them things from a technical perspective like audio balancing, how to work with graphics and build a show if you aren't given a preset show, and then some other things too, working with talent and really managing time, going along with a run of show and stuff, like all of the basics. And when they were ready, I would move them over to vMix. So this is a long, like half-year plan, long-term plan. I was going to work with these individuals. And that is where one person came from. She is currently working on OBS Productions and has done a few paid gigs that I helped her get connected to. And she's been enjoying it. It's been really great. But you were giggling a little bit when I said I made a post on Twitter. Would you like to share with the class why?
So, also too, we have this like recurring joke in just our conversations where it's just like, oh my god, there's so many things going on. There's too many things going on. And this was one of those times because you just gotta tweet it out, be like, it'd be cool if I could like teach some people how to do some things. I don't remember what the wording was exactly. And then it exploded. And you were like, there are too many people. There's too much going on. Oh my goodness, this was like a half-baked idea, and now I have to do it.
No. When I made that tweet, I was going to do it. The problem I ran into was I was expecting maybe like 10 people to like this tweet and get 2 responses. I could only take 2 people at a time. But what ended up happening is I got a lot of replies on that tweet. I also got maybe like 15 DMs. In total, I had to go through like 30 DMs and replies to like vet and find the 2 people that I wanted to work with this summer.
Yeah.
And that was a lot more work than I wanted to do, but it was worth it. I got some very kind people that I was working with who are passionate about esports and wanted to learn more. And I think one of them is not producing anymore, but she achieved her goals in the time that we were working together, which was to learn more and learn the basics of esports productions. And the other one is still fairly active, isn't doing the giant work herself to death thing that I did when I was beginning. So thank God.
That's good. This is why you teach future generations other things beyond just how to do the technical work, right?
Yeah. We're gonna teach them not to burn themselves out like me. I learned that the hard way, but another producer that I got connected to was through Gallerns. She actually started producing way earlier than I did, perhaps maybe 6 to 8 months before I did, all in OBS. But we worked together on Game Changers Academy on the broadcast there, and I started moving myself into vMix before she did. So at some point I thought, Game Changers Academy's production value would increase so much if we taught all of our producers vMix. So I will go out of my way to teach any producer that we need to how to use vMix. I will broadcast engineer the show for them, so all they have to do is know how vMix works and push the buttons. Haha.
Like the name of the show.
Yeah. So we can really make things better, give an opportunity for people to learn and use a software that kind of has a giant paywall behind it and is inaccessible to a lot of individuals. So that is where I connected with another person. We've been working together on her vMix knowledge and technical skills for, I think, 2 months now. And we're VOD reviewing, and I'm showing her different aspects of vMix for every different show, so she can eventually broadcast engineer her own shows as well. And another person I connected to came through the Little Smokey incident.
Wait, no way.
Yeah, so she participated in the tournament where Lil Smokey got Lil Smokey's name. If you don't know about Lil Smokey, you'll need to head back to episode 1 where I talk about the Lil Smokey incident. But in a nutshell, my PC almost blew up during a broadcast, and I made a tweet about it. There's a photo of my air conditioner pointed towards my PC, case open, so I could cool it down and get through that broadcast day. She saw that tweet and sent me a very long, very sweet message about how she was really excited that she saw I was using vMix. She thought that I was doing really well in, managing the potential catastrophe that happened.
Managing it well, glass off the side of the computer, air conditioning posted it. You're nailing it.
Yeah. No, sorry. But also, continue. Like, in watching the VOD for the second day of the weekend's tournament, it looked polished. It didn't look like there were any issues at all, which I really appreciated, because the second day I still had the air conditioner pointed towards the PC, but everything went fine. And yeah, she just shared that she also wanted to get into learning vMix and would love if we could connect too. So I sent her my Calendly link to put a meeting together, and then we synced up, and now I'm going to help her build a vMix show for an upcoming thing. I don't think I can give details about it, but we've had a couple of meetings already to just go over what she already knows and then talk about what are the points that she's missing. And I kind of guided her through, kind of like I described it to her as the paperclip in Microsoft Word.
You're clippy.
I'm clippy. Some people don't know what that is. I just realized. So
Wait, do people not know Clippy?
I think they're like people our age know about the paperclip in Microsoft Word, but I think a couple years younger than us might not. We might be aging ourselves right here.
That's devastating to hear. I'm not gonna lie. I loved Clippy. Also, the Wizard. The Wizard was great too. The Word Wizard. That's what he was called.
I always used. I like the paperclip the most.
You would be a Clippy fan.
Okay. Anyways, the paperclip was basically, it's like a little tutorial sprite that gives you tips on what to do when you like start up Microsoft Word. That's what the paperclip was. I was like that for her vMix, and she said it was really helpful. And so I got good feedback on how to mentor other people, and she got great feedback on how to use vMix. And later this week, before her show, I will also be popping into their call time to help answer any questions that she might have and just make sure that their setup is good to go. I'm doing this unpaid volunteer just because I want other people to learn how to do things and really develop the next generation of, well, we're the same age, I think, but an additional set of female and non-binary producers. So...
Yep.
Speaking of
no, I think that's really awesome that you're going out there and like giving people the expertise, because I do think that vMix is, like you said, kind of behind a paywall, and a lot of people hear vMix and are like, ooh, the boogeyman's out to play. All right, let's just go back to good old-fashioned OBS. But like you said, vMix does offer a whole level of quality. So, going out there and teaching people some competencies is a really good thing. So nice. Proud of you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. We're so kind to each other today. Is there something wrong going on?
I mean, Mercury is in retrograde, according to my friends, so maybe that's what's going on.
Really? Again?
Yeah.
Well, that would
I got a text
explain
from my friend. Yeah.
Does your friend text you every time Mercury is in retrograde?
Yeah, we've got that sort of relationship now.
Okay. Well,
But,
Mercury retrograde, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know much about, I guess, astrology. Yeah.
Yep.
When Mercury is in retrograde, it causes things to go batshit. So,
Yeah.
am I allowed to cuss? I think I asked that
Yes.
last time too.
You know what? I can check the exclusive tag if we want it. Like, it doesn't really matter.
I said one cuss word, so we're still good. But
Okay.
Mercury retrograde causes tech issues. It causes communication issues. It just is not a good time. So when something is going wrong in your life, check to see if Mercury is in retrograde. Basically, it looks like it's spinning in the wrong direction.
It's reverse.
Everything else is going wrong too.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a little bit more, but yeah, just Google it. If you're ever like, oh no, everything's terrible, then hey, pro tip, you could just be like, Mercury is in retrograde. And even if it isn't, some people will believe you.
So Mercury retrograde kind of makes sense now because I've been feeling a lot of negative emotions lately. I've been feeling antsy. I've been feeling like very, very, very bad feelings about my career. I feel like it's over.
Oh, no.
Like, I know I took these 2 weeks off to chill out, and I got to take my freelancing vacation and do self-care acts and get that skincare thing. I got to connect with other producers, right? But I didn't do any paid gigs. I didn't do any events. And it's made me feel like my career might be over. What if I never bounce back from this? I'm so nervous. What if people forget who I am? And when like events start up again, because they don't know who I am, I don't get hired for anything. Like,
Well, I'm glad this has just turned into another conversation between us, even though we're recording. But
just another day.
Yeah, just another day at the esports office. Ah, yes, good old John esports up above, giving us this anxiety. But no, like, first of all, I don't think that your concerns are fully valid. Although I understand because I experience very similar things.
I think we all do. It's just a part of freelancing, right? You have slow seasons and you have very busy seasons, but even if you know that logically, it still feels like it's the end of the world when you don't have upcoming work booked.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you said earlier, it's that relevancy, right? You're worried that like if you just kind of fall out a little bit, then things are just going to move on forwards, because it feels like the esports engine is like running at all cylinders, firing off at all times of the day and all times of the night. it moves fast.
Yeah. And I worry about it a lot too. Being vulnerable for a second. Ugh, I hate being vulnerable.
This is a safe space.
Stress, is it?
I mean, I would like to think so. We were being so positive earlier. Oh, okay. When did it become not a safe space?
Okay, yeah, safe space.
Yes.
I've just been thinking about all of the things that I've done this year, and I'm worried that I peaked.
No! Oh my goodness. We're back here.
We are back here. So Marks and I have this conversation at least once a quarter where I think it started in March where I was doing a bunch of fun events. I think that was when I was working with big esports orgs for the first time. I worked with Team Liquid and Gen G in the same week, actually. And then 2 weeks later, I worked with NSG on Game Changers. So a lot was happening. And while it was happening, I was like, oh my God, I can feel myself peaking. This is the best that it's ever going to get. But how do I mourn something while it's happening? Spoiler alert, that was not my peak. I did not peak then. Second time that I went to Mark's about peaking, I also did not peak then. Things keep going up. But, on that note, I feel like I don't know if it's pressure from the industry or pressure that I'm giving to myself, but I feel like every new thing I do needs to be bigger, needs to be better, or more notoriety in some way. And that's I feel like it's extremely toxic because I get very stressed about it. And I don't know that I want things to be bigger and better, or if it's because I see other people doing things that are really cool, and then I'm like, oh, I wish I was there. Like when you went to the NSG land, I was thinking, oh, I wish I was there. I wish I was working too in some capacity. And that feeling sucks. And it doesn't, I don't think it's going to go away. So it's just, right now it's a matter of how do I move forward with that feeling and just be okay with it. So,
I mean, just to kind of share my take on this whole thing, because I 100% agree. For me, it was really important to tackle down why do I feel like I have peaked, or like why do I feel like I need to do something bigger? Why do I feel like I need to do something better? And of course, there's a bunch of reasons that are always going to pop into your brain, being like, well, I need to stay relevant. I need to stay practiced. If I got my name here, it would get me into this position. If I do all of these events, then people are going to notice me. I have to connect with the community. I got to be, it's overwhelming, to say the least. And honestly, like when I was in the middle of a freak out, I think this was really before we were like that tight. I talked to my roommate about it, and he was just like, yo man, just stop comparing yourself to like what you see your peers doing on Twitter. Like, just like, do things that you want to do, and then just enjoy life outside of broadcast as well. Like, you can enjoy the grind, but also too, like, if you're not too happy about it, then do it. And the gist of just being like, okay, gotta step away from what the other people are doing, and then changing it from like when you see other people. Actually, this is something that you kind of told me as well. But when you see other people doing like all of these like cool events and stuff like that, getting yourself into the mindset of not like, oh fuck, I'm jealous, but actually genuinely being happy for like, oh shit, that's really cool that this person is able to do that. And you can't really always get rid of the jealousy. That's near impossible. But trying to shift your mindset slowly moves you towards that. And, this is, I'm quickly summarizing honestly some of the conversations that we've had multiple times, whether you're the person or I'm the person.
I know, and I hate that I go against my own advice and my own preachings too, because when you said, you should focus on being genuinely happy for people and not being jealous, I'm like, but both of those things can still coexist. I can still be happy for someone and also wish that I was there doing whatever they're doing, right?
Yeah, you can, but I think keeping that in check, I think, is the bigger thing, because if you just stay jealous and that jealousy kind of spirals out of control, then like you said, it kind of just becomes a very toxic relationship with the industry. I wouldn't even say with the person or with work, because then at some point, like, it just builds upon itself to the point where you're just like, you're old, jaded, and angry at everybody else in the world. And that's not good.
Yeah. But we're working on that. We're working on feeling better about ourselves. And I say where, but I mean like me. But I'm sure you too. You should be working on it too.
Yep. We love self-improvement on the Pushing Buttons podcast. And self-care.
Self-care, self-improvement. But over the next couple of weeks, while keeping those things in mind, like, it's okay if I'm not progressing in the way that I feel like I maybe should be, like, not getting bigger and better opportunities, which, by the way, are they even out there right now? I'm not sure, because there's not a lot of things going on. So
all the big events, all the tier 2 stuff have kind of shut down for a bit, but
yeah, everybody's a little quiet right now. So if I don't get a gig, it's okay. In the meantime, I'm just going to continue to connect with other producers. I actually have a couple of meetings lined up before I head out. You know, I still have to broadcast engineer and do the show design for Game Changers Academy. Because in the next 2 weeks, actually, we'll be going to Toronto, going to TVAL. I almost forgot about that. Yeah. So that'll be fun. I'm going with my friend Nikki from Gen G, and we're gonna go fuck shit up. That's my second cuss word of the day. I gotta be careful.
We're explicit now. Fuck yeah.
Oh no.
The chains have been released.
No, I hate the finger tingle thing that you did. That was gross.
Thank you for describing that for our audio podcast listeners.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, but continuing to connect with other people, and when I can get some observer practices in, I'm going to be searching for scrims to do some practice in and do a bit of VOD review from that for preparation when I eventually get back into observing. And when I do, I will be doing things because I want to, not because I feel like I need to. I will not overwork myself and take too many things that I do not want to do just because I feel pressured for it.
Yep. And that's important, and I'm glad that you're saying it here, and I'm glad that it's on the record.
I'm trying to convince myself while I'm saying it, but yes, you're right. It's on the record, so I have to stick to it.
So you have to commit to it now, Annie. You can't escape it. Otherwise, hey, if you're listening to this and you know that Annie's working extremely hard, tweet at her right now and be like, yo, what happened? Because this does go live a week Wednesday. So we're recording this a week before that this is actually on the internet. But no, I think that's a good mindset to have moving forwards. And for myself, well, by the time this comes out, I got signed on to work a Fall Guys event, so I'm spending this entire week just to immerse myself. I am going to become the Bean by the end of the week. I know Fall Guys, but you know, this is a paid gig. I want to make sure that I'm bringing my best, and so like I've already started watching like all the videos, all the stratagems, all the tips and tricks things on what the heck is going on. I've been learning all the lingo. I'm now in the subreddit. I'm reading all up on all the memes so that I can be funny.
Subreddit?
I am the Bean.
What do people talk about in the Fall Guys subreddit? Like movement tag? Like, oh, look at this great clip that I did. Like, what do they? Okay.
A lot of clips. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
A lot of clips are like, can somebody explain what happened here? That's what I've seen. But there are occasional memes, and I do appreciate the memes. But no, I am like knees deep in the Fall Guys, and the next thing you know, I'm gonna be swan dive right into the goo from the slime climb. Actually, I'm already mentally there. Yes,
going in the goo is bad. That's your first mistake. Slime.
Oh, my bad.
You don't want to be in the slime. That's a bad thing. I think you need to, like, are you really studying Fall Guys? I have my doubts now.
Oh no, you're right. I need to study even harder now. So I can climb out of the goo one by one from the treetop track. But yeah. So I'm just gonna spend this entire week just like doing Fall Guys stuff. But I'm not sure on whether or not the announcement has been made by the time this goes out, and I have to be careful. But I am studying back up on my Valorant stuff and trying to get a little bit of VOD review in order to just kind of brush up on things, because I've been contracted for actually a couple of different things. I don't think I've actually mentioned this to you. So I'm slated to work a couple of events.
I thought we were friends.
Oh
boy, you told me
go.
everything.
Oh boy, here we go. But I can't
always
say
share
anything.
when you get contracted for things.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you after that. It's fine. But yeah, I need to brush up
so
again
sad.
because I haven't casted Valorant since
friends.
NSG. Why are we talking in the crying tone? I'm following your lead. We are friends, except you called me business associates.
Why do you care?
I'm not gonna let that go.
Are you gonna mention it every single week we do this? You're so
well, every single time you
it?
mentioned why aren't we friends? Yes, I'm going to mention it every single time. You've given me the ultimate counter.
Okay.
I have my own Yeetus hammer, so I can hit you into the goo.
That is a little violent. I didn't ask for that. Thank you very much.
It's a Fall
Please
Guys
don't do
reference,
that.
just in case you were wondering.
It was still a little violent. God, I didn't know Fall Guys could get
Oh,
so
boy.
violent. But anyways.
It's Fall Guys. Okay. Anyways, I think that just about wraps up everything that we wanted to talk about. Unless, did we skip over anything you wanted to say? You already kind of did your ending bit in the middle of it. Or apparently it isn't even your ending bit anymore.
You're not
so
even going to ask me if I have any final thoughts? That's what you
do you
always
have any
do.
final thoughts or words for our audience?
I have no thoughts. Head empty. I, Anniepoo, and MLFT, looking for thoughts. If you have any, reach out to me at Anniepoo_ on Twitter, or DM at pushbuttonspod. That's our Twitter, by the way.
Yes. Excellent plug. If you want to keep up on basically Annie using the account to troll me on my main account.
Okay, hold on. It's not just you have
Pod.
access to the account too. It does like everything that's on there is not me. You've made posts on there too.
I made our pinned tweet. That's about it.
You have freedom to use the account as well for anything you want.
You know what I'm hearing is you're going to tweet something out and then be like, oh yeah, no, it was 100% Marks that wrote it. And I'm going to be like, wait, what?
Oh shit, I'm hella caught. Oh no, I cussed another time.
Suddenly, guess who's the one with the clean language? This guy. But if you want to see the chaos unfold, make sure to follow us at pushbuttonspod on Twitter. And if you're watching this, hey, video podcast, awesome. We're on YouTube. It's the Pushing Buttons podcast with Marks and Anniepoo. You can look that up, and hopefully things will come up there. Also, too, you can find us on every single audio podcasting platform. So, you know what? You want to go for a little bit of a run? Maybe just a nice walk by yourself. You want to listen to something, have a couple of voices in your head to accompany you. Then you can look us up. We're on Amazon. We're on Google Play. I got the confirmation we're on Apple Podcasts now, and most importantly, Spotify, because we love Spotify in this podcast.
You should have said Spotify first.
So. I know, but you've got to save the best for last. Right?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, and I think that wraps up all of the plugs. So thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned. In 2 weeks, we'll be back with yet another episode of the Pushing Buttons podcast. But my name has been Malicious Marks, and this has been Anniepoo, and we will catch you in 2 weeks. Have a great 2 weeks, everybody.